Marketing feels complicated because people keep explaining it backwards. So let me tell you something that most marketing agencies won't tell you. Businesses for under $500,000 that produce under $500,000 a year most likely get overwhelmed by marketing. You're not alone in that fight, okay? When you have the business itself, payroll, taxes, management, inventory, all of everything that goes into a business, where is the time for marketing? Most likely you don't have it, okay? So what you need to do, instead of wanting that outcome of the more clients, the more customers, the more calls, and all of these different things, what you want to be doing is coming after their activities. Yes, everybody, every single business wants more calls, more clients, more this, more that. They want more money at the end of the day, right? But you can't put the cart before the horse, otherwise you're going nowhere, okay? What an activity is posts, ads, SEOs, keywords, all these different things, all marketing jumbles, okay? But they actually work, okay? If you put out one post saying, we have a sale going on for this time and this time and this time, and then never post for another month, you're not getting anywhere. You're not going anywhere. You're not doing anything new, okay? What you need to do is make consistent posts that attract customers, okay? You need to catch their attention. You need to be a brand that they trust. And then finally, you need to have a clear next step. So let's take a grocery store, right? A small little mom and pop grocery store sees Walmart and they're like, man, I want to be that. I want to be the next Walmart. Okay, great. That's awesome. That's awesome. Let's be the next Walmart. But the issue is you're never going to be the next Walmart from day one. You don't have millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars to throw into marketing because you don't even make $1 million in a year. You maybe make 300,000 in a year. Okay, so you're not going to be able to make the grand advertisements. You're not going to be able to make the extravagant strategy choices that Walmart can make. You guys don't have that much wiggle room. Okay, so what you need to do is you need to go after your target market's attention. Okay? And I'll explain target markets in a different video. However, you need to grab whatever you want, whatever customers you want. For instance, if I was working with a local restaurant, okay, and when I was working with them, they have old people, not old people, but 60 and up, who only came into the restaurant. They were the Sunday brunch diner, right? And they're like, we want to attract more people that are younger, that 20 to 35 age gap. That's what they wanted, okay? So I looked through their Facebooks, I looked through their Instagrams, I looked through all that stuff. And you know what they posted? Come check us out on Sundays. We have free biscuits and gravy. Great. You have free biscuits and gravy on Sundays. That's awesome. But you're not doing anything. You're not attracting the attention of a young person. A 20-year-old's going to see that and be like, biscuits and gravy. That's not what you want. You don't want to attract a 65-year-old, because that's not your target market. You already have that. You already have the people that are going to be in there for Sunday brunch because you can rely on them. Comparatively, if you have a 20-year-old, you need to build your foundation around that 20-year-old. How are you going to bring in more 20-year-olds? Because I'm telling you, posting a deal isn't going to do that unless it's some extravagant deal and on Fridays everything's free. You know what I mean? So first you need to grab the attention, okay? Comparatively to a big brand like Walmart or, McDonald's, people trust them. The reason people trust them is because they're everywhere. I mean, you can't go into a town without seeing a McDonald's. So from a diner perspective, you need to build trust. You need to build a brand that people can go to and be like, they were great. They are great every single time. Okay? So that's not even on the marketing strategy. That's just on you. If you were to grab their attention, pull them in, and then consistently deliver or give them a deliverable, a good deliverable at that, I can guarantee you're going to always have those returning customers. Not only that, but then on your marketing posts themselves, you need to have a clear next step. So you grab their attention, you make them a brand that you trust or that they can trust, and then you give them your sale or your this or your call to action or your that, anything, okay? But the more that you market, sometimes is the worst off you're going to be. And I know that sounds so stupid, right? You're like, what? The more I market, the less helpful it's going to be. I'm going to give you an example, okay? I'm going to give you kind of an analogy. New Year's resolutions. How many people say, New Year, new me, I'm going to go to the gym every single day? Every single day, I'm going to go to the gym for this next year. I'm going to transform my body. How many of those people go for 2 weeks and get out? A lot of them. A very, very high percentage of them. And the reason for that is because people get burnt out. If you're making a post every single day or 2 posts every single day, it's hard. I'm not saying that you can't. I'm not saying that there's people out there that don't. But it's hard. It's hard because marketing is just like kind of its own separate thing. You know what I mean? You got the business itself, but now you got to make that business exist online. Does that make sense? There are 2 different things there. Posting every single day is hard. So when you have all this marketing, you're like, man, I'm gonna post every single day for the next year. I'm gonna grow my business. 2 weeks in, you're not posting anymore. You're like, hey, I'm taking a break, and then that break turns into another day, and then another day, and another day, and then before you know it, you've missed out on an entire week from posting. That's not consistency. Consistency is having a set schedule saying, this is when I'm posting, this is when I'm posting, this is when I'm posting. A lot of things that businesses do is they will waste money. They'll waste money because of the fact that they will spend their time to make money comparatively to spending their money to buy back more time. Does that make sense? There's a difference there. It's basically rich versus poor, okay? A poor person is going to spend, let's say, 3 hours a day having their 16-year-old nephew make them posts. They're going to make them Facebook posts. And this nephew makes one on a Friday, then makes one on Tuesday. He might post one on Wednesday, but he's really thinking he's going to put it out on Thursday. And there's just no consistency there. Not only that, but your nephew ain't trained in this stuff. Not saying he can't be, but most of the time they're not. So they'd rather spend that time to make the money. But that's not how that works. Because people and algorithms, they need to see the consistency. They need to see, okay, well, he posts every Monday. Every single Monday they post. So now we know that on Monday, we're going to push out those posts. Does that make sense? Comparatively to a rich business, okay? A rich business is going to spend the money to buy back more time. They're going to hire a marketing agency to do something more for their company because they know at the end of the day, it's going to cost them more money worth of time than it would to just buy the service or whatever the case may be. So if you hire a marketing agency, right, you might spend, let's say, $1,300 a month, okay? Spend $1,300 a month, which to a small business, that's a lot of money. That's a lot of money. However, is it that much money in the grand scheme of how much time did you put into that marketing? How much time did it take away from your actual business? Does that make sense? How much time did you have to spend in the back room scrolling through Facebook and trying to find what new trend there is and this and that and this and that? And did it do anything for you? Most likely not. Most likely not. Most likely you'd had to turn down customers because you spent that time rather than helping them and building your business while at your business. You then spent it working on marketing. See the difference there? What I don't want businesses to worry about yet. I mean, there's a list of things. There's a list of things that businesses should not be worrying about, especially up and coming businesses. If you are an up and coming business, you need to worry about the business. I get it. I represent a marketing agency. I understand that. I understand that that you might think that I'm biased, okay? But I'm not. I'm not, because of the fact that businesses all the time, they put so much time and effort into, all these different trends on TikTok. But what you don't understand is that TikTok trend, 300,000 people are also doing the exact same thing. You just become washed away. You need to have something that is your own identity, that targets your target market. I can't say it enough. I cannot say it enough. You need to target your target market. That's why it's called a target market. It's the people that you want to reach, okay? It's the people that you want to adapt and to bring into your business to make it better. Clarity beats creativity every time. At least at this stage. Clarity beats creativity. Thank you for watching. Have a wonderful day, you guys.